I just started and just, yeah.
So yeah, we want to know more. We want to know about the community and how we can affect it right now.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, since Birchie, I mean, we have now 100 projects worldwide that are that have done the Living Living Challenge.
Nice.
And I think we have close to like, oh man, this is where I don't get it quoted, but I think it's about 700 to 800 that are registered. So, and it's really runs the gamut of smaller projects like this to multi-million square foot corporate campuses and everything in between. So,
Any of those in this area?
Lots. King County right now is looking at how to do a living.
So King County has a green building ordinance that requires them to do 10 by a certain date. Or was it 2020 actually? They're on track to do 20 of them. So they've really jumped in at first on that commitment. And I think it's really just part of their larger program
Yours?
to get to boost their green building outreach and education.
This is for my YouTube channel, but I want to put your dog. Can you hold it on there for a minute?
Yeah.
Hi. Are you friendly?
But just in general, like the point of living building
You don't like
is regenerative
Should I skate because I walked up the hill?
standard. So
He's just like not that interested in people.
That's dogs.
To their the human and natural environment, and not just like less bad. So a lot of green building standards are like save some energy, save some water, or do less toxins. Whereas we are like buildings should be generating energy, they should be generating water, clean water resources. They should be completely free of toxins and actually create material nutrients, things like that. So things like treating based on treating water based on site. It's actually generating nutrients for growth.
To piggyback on that, since we are, concrete is our realm and training it, and we use a lot of it at our training center, it would be a great thing to team up with that concrete batch plants for us
Yes.
to, whatever technology is going to come out of what concrete batch plants need to start doing in the future would be a great place for us to work with them.
So,
At our future building.
so on that, that's the carbon cure. And from this conference, what we have to do is figure out the front end carbon cost and bring that down to really make it viable. To get everyone, instead of pulling concrete as the first thing off their list due to its embodied carbon cost, if we pull the front end energy cost of concrete down, we could probably flip that equation and put it in as a first talk in living buildings, because now it has a lower embodied carbon price. Just, this is Traceman.
Yeah, right out the gate with the concrete, but also the byproduct, water waste, and all the other stuff, especially the training. We pour it, we demo it, we get rid of it, and then, it takes a lot of water waste, but I think that's a big part of it, is working with the batch plants and that concrete recycling, water recycling.
Making that cement, I think, is where you get a lot of that carbon.
Exactly.
That's where the carbon cure comes in. It's that end of it.
Capture that carbon and green train.
Right. From what I've been looking at on it and talking to the people that actually, the responsible adults that know how to check this stuff out, that's it. It's good at that end, but it's not as much as it could be. If we get the front end energy costs down, and then, which is probably the easiest one to tackle, because to get a net zero water on concrete, I haven't even thought about that yet, but I think we can do the energy.
Carbon is really the driving metric for you guys, because it's going to be the building industry is looking very much at like all these like Paris Agreement, like how do we get our climate targets and reduce the atmospheric CO2, and it's so much of it is focused on energy reduction in operations up until now, but in the last year or two there's been a huge focus, a huge push for embodied carbon reduction, which is essentially just like how much carbon emissions and energy is put into the manufacturing and assembly of that product. So, I think the kind of the first like knee-jerk reaction for everyone was like, we just need to use more wood because wood can be carbon sequestering. But the conversation is getting a little more sophisticated now, and that we can get steel that is like very low embodied carbon. You can get concrete that's very low, and even carbon sequestering, as you mentioned, carbon cure is an example of that. So it's really like it's moving towards you know, we've already started incentivizing it as part of our programs to go with low embodied carbon materials, but it's really setting the course for the regulation that's happening down the lane. And you know, we're already starting to see cities like in Europe that are already adopting embodied carbon reduction targets, and they're setting like material benchmarks, material like standards that have to be met. So it's kind of a, you know, a sign of things to come.
It'd be nice for us, my vision, when Joseph started talking about this, is what we build, we can help participate in what those regulations might look like. Or another example of, one, we should be training this knowledge of the building, since our members, what we do is concrete, so it'd be good for our members to be trained on the knowledge and understanding and what it's going to take to make that shift. When regulations do start hitting, it'd be nice to have our members be educated on it, and our building that we dwell in, you know, be that showcase example of it.
Right.
So that's kind of why we're here, is to kind of
Have hit, not start hitting. Have hit here in the state of Washington with the Clean and Efficient Buildings Act that was just signed into law. Not start hitting, have hit.
So we want to be able to, if we're going to invest in 20, 30-year building, 50-year, 100-year building, we want to think about what the regulations are going to be 20, 30, 50 years from now, and just do it now.
That's right. That's great. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes, 100-year building.
If it's all feasible, of course.
Right, no, of course, and, you know, I think we're already seeing great examples of kind of walking along that path. You know, you may not get every carbon mix designed to be carbon sequestering. It's just like, there's performance requirements, there's just certain technological barriers that have to be met, that have to be broken at this point. But there are already examples like, there's a project called the Helen Summers building it's in Olympia, and it was a new state building, and they just did a deep dive into the mix designs and were able to strip out, I think it was like 30% of the embodied carbon just by tweaking the mix designs. And they got all their concrete reps to do the disclosure of the carbon of those different mixes, and now they have like a whole library of concrete mixes they just go to for any of the state projects. So and that's the thing where it's like, if you log that sort of thing in, you're gonna have the people working at this level are gonna just keep coming back to you and saying like, we want the same mix, or that sort of thing. So the disclosure is a big piece of it. It's just kind of like figure out where you are now and actually disclose. I think that is actually like a huge step, and then you can work on like the path to get it to the carbon sequestering.
You said that building was at a state-funded building?
That was a state project, yeah.
We're actually state registered apprenticeship, so we kind of work, in tandem with the state so I don't know, maybe there could be some kind of collaborative thoughts or efforts there.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to get you guys in touch with the folks that worked on that. I know it was Selling Construction that did that job.
One of our best players.
So, can you show us what good looks like?
Yeah.
Let's go for a walk.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're getting a little sidetracked on.
Yeah, we'll talk business in a minute. Let's just take a look at a living building.
That is really the biggest opportunity for you guys.
Yes.
But in any case, so you're standing and living in what used to be the world's largest living building. I think we're now surpassed by a few projects. But really, this is, the Living Building Challenge I mentioned is a regenerative design standard. We're trying to really, go towards showing what good looks like, not what less bad looks like. So every piece of this building, from the energy, water, materials, is really following that kind of mantra. And even things like this carpet that you're standing on, this has been completely rid of a list of what we call the most kind of, actually Alex is better to explain the red list than I am, but it's like the list of like the worst persistent toxins in our building products. So it's the obvious ones like asbestos and lead, but it has things like cadmium, phthalates, and maybe other chemicals that I can't name right now.
Stuff that's not good for the environment.
Stuff that it's really persistent toxins. It's the stuff that you use it, you grind it up, it goes in the landfill, and then that goes in the groundwater. It spoils the that, and it just continues to persist in plants and animals. So we just try to say let's just strip it out. We can do without that. In any case, so everything this carpet and every piece of finish, the walls, the stairs, the ceiling, even this thing is considered a living product, which, you know, the whole supply chain for this was reviewed, and like stripping the toxins out, but also making like the energy and all the carbon associated with it, or kind of canceling that out. So there's a lot of attention paid to the materials palette, and actually I'll kind of point it out as we walk through. Yeah. Another aspect I think will be interesting to see, and actually we can just kind of walk, because we'll get to the
Those living walls are real?
What's that?
Living walls?
Yeah, it's funny. They are real. They are real living things. These are actually currently not alive. It's a product that they do have. You know, they are living, and they like water them for full installations. But they gave us one that was like basically like the dry flower version.
Okay.
So they like dyed it green, and they're like, we didn't want the running water behind this one.
Yeah.
But in their real installations, they do.
Yes, but we need it.
Hey Andy, do you want to pull me in when are you guys coming back?
Yeah.
I think I had you marked
Okay.
as like
Yeah, I know.
10:30 to come in and talk about
sounds
living
good.
products.
I couldn't remember I was on a call.
Yeah, it's
so
Alex. She's on our materials team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
just
going to
be-
be important to us. So let's
Yeah.
just check this building out.
Go ahead.
So yeah, this is our space, the International Living Research Institute, and yeah, well, we'll keep walking. But I think, you know, a big piece of this was to kind of keep things pretty clean, because a lot of buildings have materials. Oh yeah, sorry, that's our text from the.
Hey man, what's
Hi.
up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to take one.
Recording
yeah,
a tour of your facility for my YouTube channel.
Nice, sweet.
But you know,
You
like
got a
we
labor
did
talk
invest in a lot of like ornate stuff. You know, like this is a pretty basic kitchen, pretty basic finishes, and that's really just to keep like, you know, the cost and the performance of the building, and the elements that do bring us like comfort, like, you know, the desk systems, the control systems for the windows and all that sort of thing. And also, you know, the kind of less surfaces and materials, the less we have to put that in.
Yeah.
But you know, they made sure that they took a hard look at basically providing like the most efficient lighting system, using things like the air rather than doing a lot of really heavy mechanical systems.
Yeah.
So this is all hydronic, like it's all heated and cooled through the slab. But the ventilation's separate from that.
Yeah, those coils going through the one that showed you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The
And we can actually walk
we have the background here.
Here.
The background.
and get a
These
sense
white boxes are assets.
They wanted all the systems to be kind of exposed. So this is all the heat pump systems. There are actually 26 ground source heat pump wells that go down, I think it's about 300 feet. And yeah, very high, really super efficient system to exchange heat with the ground, and really take care of like the majority of the needs for heating and cooling. I don't know if you guys, well, you're not, you're probably not like energy nerds like me, but like the typical, let's say the typical code compliant building consumes about, we use a metric called energy use intensity. It's like how much energy is used per square foot. And typical code compliant building may be like 40 or 50. And like actually a typical building, like an existing building, is going to be around 80 or 90. So like, you know, going up there, and this one consumes, it was designed to consume about 10. So about a tenth of what a typical building would, and about, you know, 20% of a code compliant building. So much more efficient than a typical building. And really done by doing the ground source heat pump, and by just choosing really super efficient systems, and actually doing a very thorough study on like interior plug loads and how they can do like really lightweight, low energy systems.
So a system like this price difference, let's say, than your conventional new construction to do something like this thermal, earth heat pump?
Yeah.
It's like a rough difference.
Oh, yeah. So, overall, this building, I think it came in about 12% more. And we tend to see our living buildings in like the 5 to 15% range. But for a zero energy building, if you were to not do a lot of the really deep materials work, it would be around like 1 to 8%, I think is what we see.
And but when you take it to the next step, the deep materials, that's where you get the 10+% price difference.
Yeah.
And that's really not bad for what you get in return.
Yeah, and I mean, this building essentially, it's a power plant. I mean, we get paid every year for utilities. So
Right.
that's kind of fun, that we get a check every year. And actually they've negotiated, so the Bullitt Foundation, they own the building and they, negotiate all the payments with the utilities, but for each of the tenants, they give us an energy budget. And then they say, if you meet your energy budget per year, you pay nothing in utilities. And if you don't meet the budget, then you pay all the utilities.
Wow. There's some incentive.
So it's like it's a strong incentive to keep it under control. And they give us every quarter, they give us a report that says here's where you are year to date, so we can adjust. But we really haven't had a year yet that we've gone over budget, because we were kind of set up for success from the beginning, so it didn't really, wasn't a big push. It's not like, as I said, we're not running around obsessive about things. Yet.
So we train that coating on the floor,
Yeah.
this finish, this and its finishes. So this is like a nice little showcase of some of what our labor produces in the building that.
We probably did this work actually.
Yeah.
I don't know who,
Yeah,
who the contractor was on it, but more than likely 5 to 8 hands were involved in this.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of the general contractor?
Shoe card.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not signatory, but I
No.
know we were doing the slabs.
Yeah.
Probably through King or Olympic or somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is lovely. I haven't been this far in this building.
Yeah. Well, I'll take you to my favorite part, which is actually the bathroom. So
Education portion of it.
Okay. This is a central composting system. It kind of looks like a typical bathroom, but actually, when you come on over, when you come into the stall, it basically starts foaming, like there's a little sensor here, and then you can see it'll start.
Oh, yeah?
It'll start foaming, and really that's how it flushes itself. And all this goes down to tanks in the basement, which we're actually going to go see. And it basically separates the liquids and the solids. The liquids actually get pumped into a planter on the second story, and it basically gets filtered through like a bio retention thing.
Yeah.
And then what comes out of that gets basically infiltrated back into the ground. So it's like naturally filtered,
Yeah.
and then the solids get dried out, turned, and processed into compost, and that gets trucked out to a farm where they use it for.
So this system on a typical bathroom, what would a price? I don't know if you guys have this separate price differentials, but say composting and these green urinal toilets versus your traditional plumbing. Do you guys have a rough?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure about the specific plumbing upcharge, because I think that the fixtures themselves are pretty low cost. They're just porcelain like any other fixture. It's the systems downstairs. That's the cost. So I think you have to scale. You have to get a certain amount of. You have to have a certain amount of bathrooms for it to kind of pay off. For it to make sense.
And we'd be housing probably on average 50 people a week. We'd have 30 to 50 apprentices and the staff attendant.
What's this system designed to carry? How
Oh.
many people can this system process?
They're building in general.
This building, has 6 floors. Each floor is probably 50, 60 people.
So hundreds of people
Yeah,
can be
about
handled by
100
this
people.
system.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a viable system for a building.
This is works like
So-
a stand bracket. You could have, you know, a
Okay.
stack of 20 if you want.
Right.
But the size of the systems we're seeing here roughly accommodate 300 persons, roughly.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to get an idea in my head for, you know, what we'd be looking at for the size of all that.
Well, all the technologies I believe that these guys are working on, because one of the big issues is scaling. So I think most of the solutions that ILFI puts forward are scalable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Per need.
Yeah, and you know, I think when we built,
got it.
even when we
Yeah.
built this
Education
system,
part.
this was the largest installation of centralized composting in the world, I believe. And now it's like not even a blip. There are much larger installations.
You guys kind of led the way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, most of our living building projects, they're kind of doing one thing that's new, that's really kind of like groundbreaking, and then obviously it goes from
New,
The rest
groundbreaking.
yeah. So I mean, I'll take you downstairs and we can take a look at the where the magic are at. We'll go down and then we'll go up.
Fucking beautiful, bro. Isn't this sexy?
It's pretty cool, I felt.
Yeah, this is sexy. I got like,
And all this, you can see all this stuff.
yeah, nice grind, light grind.
I
That could have been worked on.
just used the light that comes into the window of my office. Everyone will become a vampire. I haven't seen an energy.
Yeah.
Well, that's much nicer. It's natural light. It's just.
Yeah.
So there's actually two things going on. There's a gray water system that actually collects the rain off the roof and comes down, and that gets used for so we actually are now fully utilizing collected rain for potable water, and that just happened like 6 months ago when we were allowed to actually treat water on site and drink it. Normally, you can only take collected rain and flush toilets with it.
Yeah. So you can drink, you can consume there.
We are actually consuming it. We have a full, UV treatment system.
And that's not even that big of a system. I mean, the scale of this stuff is
No,
not big.
it's not.
I mean, what's it, 50 by 30 room?
Yeah, and that's really the water treatment over there. This is the liquids coming from the toilets that are sort of the leachate. You can see the gray water here. So they pull out some of the gray water from sinks, showers, dishwashers. That's what gets pumped into this this kind of bio treatment system that we'll see up on the roof, and then it's infiltrated back in or evapotranspirated. Yeah, the ground infiltration. It's actually in wells that are out on the park that's right next to it, because we had to negotiate, being able to infiltrate on site. That's not a typical thing. They want you to put it in the sewer and take it out.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. Is like we want this building to be able to like recharge the groundwater and provide kind of like a local benefit rather than just dumping into the system.
That's a whole nother
Rewrite
ballpark.
some things to make this happen.
Well, yeah, it's the coding, but I got the coding lady's contact info down in Portland, so we got our ally there.
These are the aerobic composters. That buzzing you're hearing is they're actually turning the material right now. And you can see like it basically just comes right in, and there's like different levels of like basically how much has been processed or treated. But it's really just natural enzymes that are chomping away at that stuff, and it doesn't require like a chemicals or anything like that.
That's great.
And we're standing in a sewage plant right now.
Yeah,
It doesn't really,
I don't really
it's not like
anything.
you really can't smell much of anything.
No.
So we kind of embrace the yuck factor, right?
Sure.
Say like it's cool. And by the way, if you guys want to take some compost with you,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll pass that around to the members. There it is, guys.
Yeah, look it up. I got some dirt. I can put that in. I'll put it in my garden.
yeah, and this is like fully sterile, good to go compost. There's probably a little piece of me in there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
I won't tell my
I'm
wife
good.
when I'm shaking it on the
I'm
fire.
good right now. Just
I
save that
put
one.
some in my tomatoes.
At
You know.
home? Sweet.
Yeah. So
Model it for your camera.
Yeah.
I am holding
actually,
human
I
poop.
think that I actually exaggerate a little bit.
So-
I've been told it takes it's actually 2 years from when it comes down to when it goes
Comes to
out.
that?
Okay,
Yeah.
There's a 2-year process, and I've been working at the institute for less than a year, so there's nothing of
Well, your
me.
contributions are yet to be
Yes.
realized.
Minor.
Your moisture was part of the process of even the 2 years coming out. So there's probably a little bit of you in the top end of it.
There you go.
As the moisture was being separated out. You can't
That's
get
right.
it all out
The
of it.
leachate is definitely all me.
So is your water storage here or is it on the roof?
The water storage is here.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw it over.
Is that just that little tank over there for your rainwater or?
Yeah.
Nuclear fallout, go to the hall.
Yeah, and there's a whole blog and story of the Bullitt Center, and you can dive into as many details as you want on that online thing. But yeah, the rainwater harvest. Oh, sorry. You know what? The rainwater harvest tank is actually behind this wall. It's basically a concrete cistern.
How big is it? How many gallons does it hold?
Oh man, this is where I should have read my notes.
About
How,
10,000 at least.
what's the dimensions on it?
I mean, it's
25 by,
yeah, it's
25 by
tens of
what?
it.
6?
looks like it.
I want to
So-
say it's like
50,000 gallons. What
it's
did I use
something in that
for?
range, like 40 to 50,000 gallons.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does the whole array of your roof drain into that?
It captures off the roof. Yeah, not off the array.
Okay, but off the roof itself.
Yes.
So it runs through the building to that system. And
Correct.
so you got 50,000 gallons reserved.
Yeah.
What happens when it's really going and it overflows? Does that go to the groundwater table or into the?
I believe it gets infiltrated as the first step.
Okay, infiltrated through a natural
Yeah.
filtration.
And
runs- okay.
there is like a, I think by law at the time we had to have a overflow into the municipal system.
Oh, right.
You know.
So how long did it take to get that coating changed?
Oh, that it took, that would be almost 4 years.
Okay.
A little over three and a half years. Basically, they had to apply to be a water utility
Right.
to serve ourselves water.
Right. And just one
And
more.
that had to go to the state level to get basically the Department of Health to
Sounds like
sign
we
off
need to
on
get the
that.
UA on board.
So
Yeah.
I
But
wanna-
that barrier's been broken. There's now precedent for that.
there is, but only in the city of Seattle. The rest of the state, it's still illegal to catch your own water, from my understanding of the water laws here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Basically, the city does not enforce the state law.
The state law,
around
so-
regardless.
The state is just a,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the issue here is a lot of folks are kind of like, they understand that what is trying to be done here, it's not about, diverting a river to take
Right,
someone's
right.
water right for agriculture. It's about,
Right.
recycling water on a
And
building.
kinda
So that's
comes
not a threat to anybody.
back into the more one water philosophy that is like the new ideas moving forward, the forward thinking on the water end. One water, is that the right term?
One water.
I think it's all of the water, from the rain, the mountains, the streams, the lakes, everything.
yeah.
So they're thinking of it as one water from the sky to the ocean,
That's right.
basically. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I just wanted to make sure that my knowledge is up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if there's any other questions, I can take a walk upstairs. So a big part of the kind of culture of what Dennis Hayes, the Senator of Bullitt Foundation, he wanted to kind of create a culture of a culture of like conservation, but also a culture of just like seeing kind of the benefits of being in a building like this.
Yeah.
He was actually the founder of Earth Day. I don't know if you guys know. I didn't Dennis Hayes, but he's kind of our local celebrity. He basically, when he met early with the design team, he's like, I want an irresistible stair. That is like, I want the best view in the whole building to be from the staircase. So the people really, really want to take the stairs. They don't just go right to the elevator and start using that, right? So that's what kind of inspired this. And we'll get the first get the best view from walk up here. Look up there. So this goes all the way up to the top and is really, we consider it kind of the balcony of the project.
Sure, the neighbors aren't a big fan of it, but.
I like it.
Yeah, but let's actually walk up to this second story. Right.
Thanks for your contributions.
So this ends up kind of being a little bit of like an informal place for people to meet. You know, they just sometimes come out here just to kind of chat.
Yeah.
Particularly up on these balcony kind of seats. But you know, when you get up here, particularly when you're on the upper floors, you get this incredible shot down Madison Ave, downtown. You see the mountains and all that. So
You gotta get out here and get on the stairs to get it. I like it.
yeah, but I mean, you feel like this is nice daylit space. Yeah, I mean that's been a big piece of just like what are those kind of ways we can help people want to do the thing that's going to help the building systems.
Yeah.
Here, this is the gray water system.
Okay.
So this is actually where that leachate, the gray water gets pumped into here and then filtered through this. I mean, this is kind of like a little miniature wetland that we've established up on the roof. And then,
Tie off for safety.
No, way go down.
yeah,
all the way
and then
down.
whatever remains,
landscape.
whatever doesn't evaporate gets, as I said, pumped down into
The
McGill Park.
new job of the future high-rise landscaper.
Really, though, it should be.
Yeah.
High-rise could be built with these terraces of,
Well, they should be. If you look at some of the models coming in from other countries, there's giant buildings that are just basically villages with gardens and greens, and I think one's in Singapore, like the greenest building in the world is in Singapore, and it's just, it's like what a skyscraper should be, is a village on itself.
Right.
To maximize effectiveness of the carbon cost to build it and minimize the carbon cost of the inhabitants of the area.
self-sustainable kind of deal.
Right.
Well, yeah, any city only has 3 days worth of food. So one little burp and we're in Mad Max.
Right.
Or they
Yeah.
could have their own like market and commerce. And
So something else you can see here, there's exterior shades that will come down. Obviously today it's a cloudy day, so they're not going to be out, but they come down and they'll adjust to basically bounce the light up and into the space. And of course, if there's high winds, it has a sensor for that'll pull them up so they don't get damaged. But the other nice thing is these windows are actually on poppers, these little scissor jack things.
Okay.
Actually, this one, I think this is one of them that will. So it basically just lifts out, and it'll allow the natural breeze to come through on days when it's the temperature's right. And it's really pleasant. I mean, when you're sitting in the office and you just get that little bit of that fresh air, and just a little bit of airspeed, you do feel a little.
picks you up a little bit.
It definitely picks you up. It was actually a really interesting story of this is that, they were looking into like what is a really highly efficient envelope, exterior system they could get for this building. And they found this glazing product that was only available out over in Europe and basically out of Germany. It's a company called Schuko. But part of the living building standard to support local economy and like really trying to focus on sourcing it within a certain radius of the project. So they actually talked to a local glazing manufacturer and got them to forge an agreement with Schuko out of Germany. And the German folks came over and like licensed their product with them, or they basically like trained them to produce this like triple pane, highly efficient glass. And now Goldfinch Brothers is like the West Coast, provider of that product, and they've had an enormous amount of orders, from that. So it's like this is another thing of like we love to see these buildings become like, you know, a generator for like a local business, local economy to like really, you know, take advantage of it and get supported. And you know, even the waterproofing, the wet applied waterproofing, air sealant on the project, that originally had phthalates in it, which are another persistent toxin. And they talked to them and they reformulated that product to remove the phthalates so that it could be used on the project. And then they looked at it and they said, well, gee, why don't we just take phthalates out of all of our products? And then it like swept across, you know, dozens of other products. And now they're getting like a tremendous amount of interest for it because like they are like the phthalate-free, you know, air sealant company now. So it really is these like catalysts that become, you know, part of the story of each of these projects. That's pretty cool.
I would have never guessed that. That's great.
You don't understand the work these people have done. That's why I'm here. Why should I reinvent the wheel? They got the wheel and a globally recognized system in place.
Right. And above you is, I think it's like about 500, 325 watt panels, sun powers. They're U.S. panels. This was originally designed with a 10% safety factor, essentially to make sure it would generate 10% more than the building would consume. And in the first 2 years, it actually generated 40% more than the building consumed. Wow. So it was like a really enormous amount of power. And they had even gone to the city to get air rights for this. You can see it actually extends over the sidewalk, which is not the typical condition in the city. But this was part of what is called the Living Building Pilot Program, where the city provides density bonus and land use variances for projects that do the Living Building Challenge.
Is that the one that needs to be registered for by August 31st of this year?
That's just our standard that will be sunset, our 3.1 standard.
Okay.
We're going to a new version.
Yeah, the 4.0.
So the old version just goes away after August.
Okay.
But you can still register
For the old version.
City's pilot program. Yeah, that's
So whatever city or municipal we end up building in, it'd be good to partner with them and see if they have a Living Building Future program, what kind of benefits they have.
Yeah, and we have a policy team that's working with a number of cities in the state that are basically providing some kind of density bonus or, you know, permit expediting service. So you get a range of benefits depending on what they can offer.
So are you guys the engineer, architect, or are you like an additional layer to, or do you guys have what part of the team are you in building a building like this?
Yeah.
Are you an additional third party to it, or are you?
Well, I mean, so we are, we're the nonprofit, we're the certification body. So we're the ones that they submit, when we create the standard, we say this is what we want you to achieve. Everything's performance based. So we don't say you gotta have light sensors and you gotta, do recycled the little ticky-tacky stuff. We say you gotta be a net positive energy building. Mm-hmm. And then you figure out what all that means. We set the standard, we verify, but then we provide a lot of support in terms of education, advocacy, and we can help review kind of in progress, the documentation, and say you're on track or you're not. But we really try to we don't want to take over services that are provided by engineers and architects and builders, because we want the expertise to be built. We want the expertise to kind of go out into the industry, not kind of decentralize things.
Yeah, and there's something said for somebody to learn something on their own versus giving.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, our mission is to inspire and engage, not to make money. So, anyway, so I guess we could essentially walk up and peek in. Hopefully the bullet definition open, but I don't know how many flights of stairs you guys are willing to.
I need all the stairs I can get.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, let's just go to the top of the view and do nothing else.
You see,
Yeah.
We're like the professional athletes of the construction. We work injured every day because we don't have a choice. And no matter what, we have to finish it because we're the finishers.
Right. Yeah, so basically, the building structure itself, it's essentially 2 floors of concrete, concrete base, and then the rest of the building is something mass timber systems. So,
See how they changed the backdrop of the toe pit once you got up into the lid area. Down below is quite
oh yeah.
and I switched it up to this light room.
Yeah, so here's where you start to get the really nice view to downtown.
Oh yeah. Stellar.
I don't think my team will do the whole presentation, but
See how I'm working on it.
you guys like a little more. Where they got the skylights. Same bathroom, they don't get a nicer one. This is simply I think this is where Sonos is here.
That's where the big boys hang out for Sonos, huh?
Yeah, but between the between the daylight and the natural ventilation, the fans, I mean, they really run the conditions pretty seldom. I mean, it's really just in those peak periods, like middle winter, and I don't even know if they do cooling because a lot of the the fans and natural ventilation, they have the capability to do it. They don't because the heat pumps obviously run both ways.
Do you guys have a battery bank that runs that, or is that direct right off the,
We do use the grid. They have a battery, kind of the emergency backup system.
Okay.
But it is, we are grid.
So you kind of trade power with them. When you have surplus, you give it to them, and when you need a little bit, they give it back.
That's right.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
Beautiful building.
yeah. And it's great. I love simple. Yeah. Where did we lose Juice?
He's using the restroom. So I have a question about sheetrock interior finishes. Is this is your standard sheetrock? Is that a standard within the red list?
Yeah, it's
Or-
a USG product, and they are red list compliant, so they made sure they got rid of all their documents.
Oh, okay, so you can go with standard interior finishes typically.
Yeah. I think when this product, we have what's called a declare label, and it's essentially like a materials ingredient label, like you would on a package of, food. And that's actually pretty unique because, you guys are probably familiar with like MSDS sheets, right? And that may have like a few cast numbers, but they only are required to disclose if they're registered toxins.
Yeah.
They're not required to disclose everything. And our declare labels, which I can show you when we get back downstairs, they're just very simple labels, and they just say these are all the ingredients. And it just helps us verify that there are truly no toxins, either registered or non-registered toxins in the products.
What did you call the products that continue on the toxins that could continue on?
Oh, persistent toxins.
Persistent. Okay.
Yeah, it's because they bioaccumulative. They accumulate in us. They accumulate in the water, the
Persistent
fish.
throughout their life.
Yeah,
All the stuff here
comes
about
in
mercury's on the
Yeah.
red list.
Gotcha.
So it's all that kind of stuff where we're
I
just
like that phrase.
yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Thanks for the tour.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much. This is amazing. I'm just going to shut this off. Thanks for watching, guys.